And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name is Jay, and I am here with you today to give you 5 guaranteed ways to avoid a car scam when you're selling your car. There are so many scams right now. This is getting towards the holiday time. And even if you're not looking to sell a car now, send this to somebody that you care about. And we're going to talk about those right now.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, we are talking about the 5 guaranteed ways on how to avoid a car scam when you are selling your car. I care about you guys. That's why we do what we do here. And we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Podcastify.me. That is Podcastify.me. They make this beautiful, beautiful show every single week. They bring it to you. And if you want a podcast just like this one, you could have it also by contacting Podcastify.me. And if you are just tuning in, there's a lot of ways that you can listen or watch the Auto Authorities Podcast. You can watch us live on the Facebook group page. It's called the Auto Authorities Podcast. It's at 12 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. You can also go on YouTube and watch us, not live, but you can still watch. And you can just type in the Auto Authorities on YouTube. And you can click the subscribe button and the notification button, and you will be notified for all the amazing podcasts. And the third is we are also on 19 different channels worldwide. iTunes is one of them, Pandora, Amazon, pretty much any type of podcasting channel, we will be on it. Been coming to you for almost 2 years now. And also, as we talk about these, I want to hear some feedback from you. Have you ever been scammed? Do you want to share your story? Do you want to try to help other people that are listening to this avoid a scam of their own? Because today we're going to be talking about the 5 guaranteed ways to avoid a car scam when you're selling your car. So make all the comments below, but let's get started. So everybody thinks that they can just go out, throw a car on Facebook Marketplace, and somebody is magically just going to show up with the money exactly when you're told that they're going to show up. And the answer of that is very unrealistic if you think about that. There are people that literally, when it becomes holiday time, whether it be car scams, present scams, whatever it is, they're looking to take advantage of you. So as we go through this, I'm going to be hitting a lot of different points for you. Also, one of the things that our company does that I pride about iAutoAgent.com is we help you avoid these scams. We are real estate agents for cars. We will help you sell your vehicle at no cost to you. We will market, we will list, we will show your car and handle the money transaction. You never have to meet strange people. And then when you're ready to go buy a car, you can avoid a scam that way because we handle everything from A to Z. We handle all the communications with the dealers or private owners. We tee up every deal for you. And we only, we basically schedule your test drives and your showings of the vehicles. And then you pay us if you enjoy what you see as far as the dollar amount that you're paying and the car. If you don't like it, then you don't pay us. So anyway, let's get right into this. It starts with your ad. When you're selling your car, you have to be very, very careful on what you put in your ad. Now, I'm going to share some stories with you of real people that we work with or we have worked with that we wound up selling their car, but there are some really like no-nos that you don't want to do. So when you're putting that ad up, keep your address out of the ad. Like, don't show your home address in the photos. So a lot of people take pictures in front of their car and you can see the number and then you can see the street sign over here. You don't want to put that in the ad. And then let your friends and family know that you're selling the car. Maybe they just have somebody that wants to buy it and you don't have to go put this ad out there. Or maybe you call iAutoAgent.com and they do it all for you. The other thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to show your license plate. Everybody's like, we contact a lot of people to sell their cars. That's just one of the things that we do. And people are so worried about giving their VIN, their vehicle identification number to their vehicle, but yet they have their license plate literally posted right in front. And when you have your license plate out there, people could find out a lot of information about you. Now, they can't find out any personal information about you by VIN, but they can with a license plate number. And so you want to cover that up somehow so people don't see that. And I'm going to give you another story because we like story time. Hopefully Bobby's listening. If you look at the GPS on your car and you're taking pictures of, or even potentially a video of your vehicle, and you are showing your GPS, it will show people on the map where you're taking that picture. So it would be very important to have a different screen showing so they don't send some strange person to your house. In fact, somebody had told me this one time. They were selling a vehicle and they did that, and somebody literally showed up at their house wanting to buy their car. That would be very, very uncomfortable. And speaking of that, we will talk about where to meet later on, because if you're bringing them to your house, you're making a very, very bad decision. So let's get into the next piece. Now that you have the vehicle listed, what happens next? You will either have probably a message, because most of the sites are not giving out phone numbers anymore. So you're going to get a message. And I want you to answer this question for me. I'm not going to tell you the answer yet. But if you were to get a message through Facebook or AutoTrader or one of the car sites, and people are asking questions, would you sit there and communicate with them and set up a time to go see the vehicle? Is that how you like to communicate? Or would you rather talk to them on the phone? Which one do you think is the better way to go? Answer now. And I'm listening. All right. So now that you've answered that, I'm going to tell you the right ways to do it. You always, always want to get them on the phone. You can tell a lot about people when you're talking to them. You can hear their voice inflection. You can hear, is this somebody that you really do want to meet? So once you get them on the phone, you're going to ask a few things. You're going to want to know a little bit about them. Where are they coming from? If they're coming from out of town, I'm going to tell you this. If you think it's complicated to sell a car here to somebody in St. Louis, wait till you sell a car from somebody out of town. There's so many things that you need to put in place. And I'll try my very best to hit all those points. But what you're going to want to do is you want to also check, like if it is a Facebook, check and see if they have any friends that you know. That's one of the things that I like to do. It doesn't mean it's going to be completely safe, but if they have like multiple friends that you know as well, that might be a safe proposition for you, right? So also check and see if they have any cars listed on Facebook that they are trying to sell. And why do I say that? Because this is a clear indication if they have other cars they're trying to sell, they are probably a dealership posing as a private owner. And this is where a lot of the scams happen. You're going to get somebody to contact you. They're like, I'm interested in your car. You're going to find out that it isn't a private owner. It may be a dealer, but it may be even worse than a dealer. It may be somebody that is going to car flip your vehicle. We're going to talk about titling here in a little bit. That's going to be last. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that they are asking questions about your car. So like most people don't just go look at a car. You want them to be sincerely interested in your car. So they'll ask questions, how long you've had it, what is the reason for selling it? And you're going to get a good gauge at that point if you actually want to meet these people. Speaking of meeting the people, and I'm going to stress this right now. Well, I'm going to ask you this. Where should you meet the people? You could say it out loud to yourself. Where would you go to meet the people? Are you going to bring them to your house? Maybe you should go to the Quickie Mart, or maybe you should go to Walmart where it's lighted, or Lowe's. And the answer is none of those. You only go to police stations to show your vehicle. Since in our inception at iAutoAgent.com, we started in 2015, we show every single vehicle at a police station. Why is that? Because they have cameras. If somebody is going to pull a scam on you, 99% of the time, they're not going to pull it at a police station. I can tell you, knock on wood, I'm knocking on my head right now. We have never, ever had an issue in this company ever because we follow those processes to a T. But it doesn't mean it's game over after that. So once you get to the police station, here's what you do. And listen closely and take notes. Send this to your friends, especially if you know somebody looking to sell a car. Well, obviously send your friend to us at iAutoAgent.com because I selfishly would love our team to sell the car. But if they want to continue to sell it on their own, teach them this. Take their driver's license, just like you would do anybody like that you would allow in your car. Take a picture of the driver's license. Take a picture of their license plate. Tell somebody at least to come with you, or let somebody know once you get the driver's license and you get the license plate, send a message to a loved one and tell them where you're at and what you are doing. Now, I have a question for you. Do you, when you are getting ready to take a test drive, do you go with the people or do you not go with the people? Answer what you think right now, and I'm going to tell you the answer. Well, let's look at it this way. If you don't go with them, what is in your car? There's a lot of things, isn't there? There's that GPS for a lot of us, right? So they can just click home and go to your house. And what's that little thing on the visor right above your head? Oh, it's called a garage door opener. So it may be their plan the whole time where if you don't go with them, you're waiting at the police station for them to come back. Meanwhile, they're going to your house, they're hitting the garage door opener, and they're going in your house and robbing you blind. Maybe it isn't so severe. Maybe it's the fact that they have the identical car that they're looking at with you, right? And they just need a part off your car. Maybe they're just going to steal a part off your car. The facts is that it's very, very dangerous not to go with them. So, and then what else is in your glove compartment? A lot of people love going through glove compartments. You have an owner's manual. but you also have a lot of other information about you, don't you? Do you have your registration from the DMV that has your address on it, even if you don't have GPS? There's so many pieces of information that people can find out about you like that, and you don't want them to do it. You don't. And I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I'm gonna tell you in a second. But for those of you who are listening right now that just tuning in, I'm getting ready to tell you some really, really huge things about how to stay safe when you're selling your car and how to avoid a car scam. This is the holiday time. This is what people do. If you're listening to this, please leave your comments below. If you're on our Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities Podcast, leave your comments. I want to hear. Share this with people. Tell us your story about if you ever were scammed selling a car, and help somebody else avoid the mistakes that you made. If you're listening to it on iTunes or Pandora or Amazon, please leave us comments or reviews. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe and get notified of when we're doing this. We want to hear your feedback, because I personally will respond to any of your feedback that you give, because I want to keep people safe. That's the reason why I do what I want to do. And right now we're talking about showing that vehicle at a police station. Do you go with them? Do you not? I already talked about what happens if you don't go with them. What happens if you do go with them? They can kidnap you. You don't know how that person drives. Do you want to be driving in a car with them? I don't know. It gets very, very dicey, and you don't want to find yourself in the back of a trunk. And I can just tell you some real horror stories, some real stories of people. And here locally in St. Louis in 2015, when I first started this, I'm going to tell you a story. There was a young man who was trying to sell a red 350Z on Craigslist. He met the guy at a truck stop. It was just him and that guy. He was an SIUE engineering student. This was not a dummy. He showed his car, and the guy murdered him right on the spot and drug his body into the woods and drove away in his car. This student made a very bad decision of meeting somebody at a place that wasn't a police station, and he lost his life. And now some parents don't have their kids anymore because of somebody that had, so the guy, let's call him the murderer, he had his car repossessed, and he wanted to get back his car, so he found a car similar to his, and he just murdered this kid. This gets very, very serious. So let's talk about the last part of this. This is after the buyer says yes. What do you do? How do you accept payment? Does he write you a check? Does she write you a check, a personal check? Do you do the transaction at the police station? Do you do the transaction at your house? And the answer is no for both. You do the transaction at the bank. And it can be your bank or their bank. And it's even better if you do it at their bank. Why is that? Because you will see if they have money in their account to pay for the car that they just bought from you. Do not veer from that. If you do decide to take the check, make sure it is a cashier's check. I don't even recommend having money wired anymore, because unless it's completely necessary, and it may be, because when you start working with people that are outside of St. Louis, it can get very dicey, because what they're going to be doing is they're going to be bringing a cashier's check. Well, cashier's checks can be made on home printers. And if you work at a credit union or a bank, or have any involvement with a bank or credit union, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are fraudulent checks being passed all the time. So how do you avoid that? So when you go to the bank, you are going to talk to the teller, and you're going to have them verify those funds. And the better way to do it is have them take a picture of the check before you receive the check and have those funds verified before the buyer even shows up. Then, if there's liens and payoffs, so let's say your vehicle has a lien still on it, the buyers are going to be very skeptical when they buy your vehicle. Why is that? Because you're going to have a title in the state of Missouri. And if you're listening to this, some places around the country, they don't hold titles. The people actually don't hold titles. The bank holds the title. But in St. Louis and Missouri, the people hold the title. And it may say that there's a lien on there. And if there is not what we call a lien release, which is a notarized document prepared by the bank that states that you have fully paid your loan in full, that person cannot license that vehicle. And what really, really gets sticky is, let's say you owe $20,000 on that vehicle, and the person is, let's just say for purposes, they're paying $20,000 for the vehicle. You have to take that money, pay off that vehicle, and the person that is buying that vehicle in this day and age will probably not receive the lien release for at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So it's very scary for the people that are buying this vehicle, because now they have a car, they have a title, but they cannot license it. And you have 30 days in the state of Missouri and a lot of states to license that vehicle. And there's companies like Carvana and Vroom that are not providing people titles. They never had the titles, and they are doing fraudulent things. Hence the reason, and I will say this, I truly believe that they're going to go out of business because of their fraudulent practices. But this is how to protect yourself. But it's very important to know what the other party is thinking when you have a lien on your vehicle. Now, the fifth and final way to avoid a car scam is coming to you right now. On the back of a title, and I'm going to use a Missouri title, there is a place where you sign on the back. It's on the right-hand side, and it's basically, this says the seller signature. And the reason why it's so important for you to sign that title is because if you do not sign that title and you just give them that title, which we call an open title, that person can sign your name and flip that vehicle without having to pay sales tax, and you have responsibility of that vehicle the entire way through. So if you're selling the vehicle, someone's buying it, and you don't sign off on the title, you can get yourself into a world of hurt, because if they go do something really bad in that vehicle, that is still your vehicle. And I'm going to give you another way to protect yourself. Always, always print a bill of sale. Don't just write something on a napkin. I've seen this before, but don't do it. In the state of Missouri, it's called Form 1957. All you do is make sure a bill of sale is basically a receipt that proved that you sold the vehicle. So you're going to want to have 2 copies. One copy goes to you, one copy goes to the buyer, and it needs to be signed by both of you. And it only requires one signature. It also has the price of the vehicle that they paid. Now, let's talk about that for a second. If somebody asks you to write down the price to a lower price so they don't have to pay sales tax, you better run quickly, because who knows what else they're doing. You don't ever want to do that. And I'll never forget when we first started iAutoAgent in 2015. There was these, they were college students. They were buying a black Audi. It was an S5. It was a really, really cool car. And they had asked to write down. So this was like a $30,000 car used. They had asked us to write it down to $8,000. So they didn't have to pay as much sales tax, because your sales tax is based on the sale price that you pay for the vehicle. Obviously, we told them no. And then the big thing that you don't ever want to do is, after you have sold that vehicle, you've signed the title with them, you've given them the bill of sale, and also take a picture of that title too. This is all your proof. You're protecting your butt. Take the freaking plates off your vehicle, even if they don't have plates. If you give them the title, they can go to a DMV and get a temporary plate valid for 30 days. It's like $7.50 here in Missouri. But if you don't take those plates off, they start getting parking tickets. They get a ticket. Guess who the ticket's going to? You. So we've hit all the different ways now to protect yourself and avoid a scam. I'm going to go through them one more time. Start with your ad. Make sure that you don't post anything in your ad that's going to show your license plate, that's going to show where you live, any of those things. The second thing is when you get the call or you get the message, always get them on the phone. Know who you're talking to. Ask them questions. Make sure you feel comfortable meeting them. And when you meet them, only meet at police stations. Do not meet anywhere else. Always get copies of driver's license, pictures of that, license plates, and tell people where you're at, and make sure that you are in that car with them, driving that car. And finally, the last parts are in the money transaction, only done at the bank. You do a bill sale, you sign the title, you make sure that you have your ground covered. And then finally, the last part of it is they need to sign that. They need to, actually, I already covered it. You want to make sure that they sign the title. I want to make sure I hit all that. But thanks for everybody joining us. Please leave comments below. I want to hear your feedback. Like, have you ever had a scam like this? What are your thoughts about the advice that I've given? Any other extra advice that you can give to somebody that I may have missed, or questions that you have? You can even go to theautoauthorities.com. That's theautoauthorities.com. And you can leave us questions or anything. I will personally answer every single one of your questions. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I really hope you found this of value. And happy holidays to everybody that is watching this. And don't get scammed. Listen to what I say. And I will see you next week.